Welcome to the Meta Minute. This is after the first week of season 43. And in this show, we go into a sort of deep dive of teams. Well, not deep dive. This show is less than 10 minutes. The goal is just to review what's happened after the first week and, in particular, talk about teams. Um, on the podcast that I have called the Meta Moments, I love the meta. What can I say? I talk every couple of days about much more what's happening on sort of a day by day basis, a snapshot of like 24 to 48 hours. And the one I did yesterday, the podcast is available. Just search for Grand Arena Science any place that you watch podcasts or listen to podcasts. This show will be on the podcast too. Or go to the Discord server and I list it there every time I have a new one. Anyway, the last one I did yesterday was talking about datacrons and mods, like stuff you do before or during the when you can make changes before lock. In this show here, I'm talking about like you're hopefully listening to this or watching this before you set your defense. So I'm talking primarily about teams, like what teams are good on offense, defense. I approach this mostly from a defensive perspective. So let's go ahead and go through some of the ones that I feel are most notable and important for sort of how you set up your defense. As much as possible, I try not to talk about just GLs because, with the exception of the GL square I'll talk about this at the very end, the GL square in terms of the meta. I think the GLs are the least interesting teams. Like there's very few. I mean, it's obviously much more complicated when you have a smaller roster than your opponent, but in general, the majority of the GLs have a good two-shot option. I will be making a Kyber Lab soon talking about two-shotting all of the GLs. So keep your eye, ear, whatever out for that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So Jabba, most importantly, Jabba cleanup, because you can kill Jabba very easily with JMK or SLKR, and you can two-shot Jabba with Night Sisters. You need the set 9 Plague level 6, and you really should have Marin. So you need the Plague level 6. And then you need to clean up. So you can use Afrin Starkiller for 100% or like 97, 95, whatever, but effectively 100%. Or you can throw in Mothma, Kylo Katarn, and Cara Dune. Only those three. And it has a pretty high success rate, and it's been done quite a few times. The only failures in that case, is when the Jabba has huge amount of defense and health, but normally defense is the main thing, and the attacking team has not high relic levels, like not relic 5+ levels, or their characters are modded poorly. I checked a few actual Katarn and Kara mods on the fails, and their mods were like not great. Not offensive modded, no 6E offense, cross and square and stuff. Or cross and diamond, triangle. Apparently I don't know shapes. But generally that is a good two-shot option if you don't want to use Starkiller or Aphra. Another option, again, just for solo Java, is Hera, Rex, and Sabine. Now there's not a lot of fights showing this, but kit and stat-wise, this is fantastic. You do need the all of them to be relic. You can't take in non-relic, and it makes it so much easier when you have the level 6 stacking. You don't really need Hera's or Rex's or Sabine's level 9. Can't hurt. Sabine's especially, it's nice stacking, but you don't need it. It's the armor shred and the constant assisting which makes it happen. Really cool setup. So this is sort of a popular in the top few hundreds, I guess, and in sort of the top 50, maybe half of the players are using it. Vader, Lord Vader, Riva, third sister, and Maul. You can still beat it with SLKR, Watt plus armor or tank or something like that. Health steal is very important on the SLKR datacron. And besides that, it still doesn't have a huge success rate, but health steal good stats, and you should probably be fine. You can still have problems if you throw in Maul, for instance, I think, or excuse me, if you have armor. In most cases where it's failing, I'm seeing where Maul is faster than armor, and so armor doesn't actually get to apply their ingots. That's a possibility. Anyway, in general, SLKR still takes it down. If you don't want to throw in third sister with Vader, which I don't think it's a good choice myself, because worst case scenario with the Riva comp, throw in a bounty hunter team with Mando, the old G Mando, to destroy Riva, and then SLKR or whatever it. That's pretty safe and easy. Or even I think just a regular Fennec Bam Grief team, or Fennec Bam Grief, and that will take out Mando or Maul every time. Or as far as I remember from the stats, Maul's dead every single time. And then again, you're left with Riva and SLKR, or Riva and Vader, but you can SLKR that very easily also. This is taking way too long. I need to go faster. So, but you see SLKR and JMK takes out the Vader Thrawn Maul one, but nothing else, no non-GL stuff does it, unless you want two shot. Jabba, no single shots besides JMK or SLKR. And see, this is part of the GL square. Trey on defense is interesting. I think can be good, like Trey Savage DN is most common, but Padme kills it straight out a lot of the time, or two shots you kill Savage and then you clean up the other two. I was surprised how good Tarful, Zal, and whatever could be Clone Wars Chewie, could be Vandor Chewie. Like put in another Wookiee in there. Holy crap! This is with Tarful's level 9. Okay, with Tarful's level 9, extremely good. Besides the top tier teams, there's not much it takes out. Definitely not Bad Batch. Definitely not Bad Batch. Like below 50% success rate. Saw, it's like the new Wampa food. I mean, if there's super high relics and your Wampa is really 5 and they're like 8 or 9 or something, if you have the dark side, like Beefy Cron, I mean, the defense is what I'm more talking about, but maybe is not gonna, it's probably still work, but in general, Saw is just Wampa food. My mind, that's a new Wampa food. So if you want to pull Wampa, great, but keep in mind it's not the most amazing. Yeah. KK, Kyle Katarn, and Kara are good, but I mentioned Kyle Katarn. I took him out of the stats as well because if you want to use him with Mothma to clean up Jabba, then probably put in you could put in Kara and Baze, or you could put in Chirrut and Baze, which is Chase, by the way. It's those two characters. It's a nickname from them back when they're popular. Okay, faster. My name's Matt. That's what I just called myself. My name online is Kim. Actual name is Matt. Holy poops. Captain Rex is fantastic. He fits so well with clones. He also fits well with Hera lead, but in general, there's way more teams that have 100% success with Hera and Rex versus with clones and Rex. Obviously, because in 3v3, his Omicron is active with clones, and 5v5 is with Hera. He still gives bonuses to Phoenix, but nothing to do with his Omicron. So, yeah, tons of drops. Not a lot of attempts in general, because a lot of people don't have 7-star Rex. Now more people will because of double drops. So I expect to see him a lot more, and he's quite good. Qui-Gon with a level 6 where they get 20% offense when there's Foresight above them. Oof, that is a top tier team. Fantastic. Even if you don't have super fast speed mods on them, they're better when you do, but even if you don't, very good. Not a lot of reliable one-shot kills. You still can do it, but a lot of teams have like 50, 40, 50%. But depending on who they target, whether JK crits or not, what sort of armor penetration or crit damage or offense the set 10 has on it. I mean, there's lots of variables in there, but great team on defense. Very valuable on offense, but great on defense. So I only have, So I'll go back to the GL square at the end. Ships, there's no Leviathan changes in yet. It's unlikely they'll be in before the end of the season, in my opinion. Certainly not this week. So keep doing what you're doing with Leviathan, which I think put him on defense, force your opponent to use Profundity, and make up banners in the other two. The GL square. So it is what I expected it would be at the beginning of the season. Yeah, Vader and Jabba both require JNK or SLKR. I'm not putting SLKR on here because he's not really on defense. He gets beaten by a number of things on defense. Still can be good, but not amazing. And I put in there Ray because Ray, if you put in the JTR version of Ray, you sort of force either a Rainier or a JNK or Jabba. So she's still important in a way. However, it's interesting with Reva being so good on offense and so easily countered for 56 or 57 banners by Traya Savage DN on defense. Not many people are putting her on defense. I really saw her on defense, I think, once out of the hundreds of matches that I saw this last week. And because of that, I mean, Traya Savage can kill a bunch of stuff, but at the same time, Traya with DN and Nihilus as normal can kill a bunch of stuff without Savage too. So I think I've seen a few people tilt already, or pivot, not tilt. I've seen a few people tilt. In week 1, some people putting Sith Eternal Emperor and Savage on defense. And it's partially because how it interacts with the square. So you probably could Ray solo that. Maybe if you had Talon in there, that would be a little iffy because Talon does the ability block, but you probably could Ray solo it. If you have a good Ray, you know? Good Ray, good datacron, lots of defense. But besides that, you have to use Lord Vader, which nobody puts on, well, very few people have on offense. You have to use basically SLKR or JMK to kill that team. And if you do that, then what are they going to do besides two-shot either Lord Vader or Jabba? That's an interesting little something happening there. All because of Riva and Traya. I think that's gonna. I mean, it obviously depends if people don't have all these characters, but something curious. Something's changing there that I'm not quite sure a lot of people have picked up on, or if they do, they only go part way, like they place their Sith and Savage, and they don't place both Jabba and a good Lord Vader team, like they put Lord Vader, Maul, Royal Guard, or something, which you can Fennec, so it totally destroys the whole concept. Anyway, interesting, longer than I intended, 13 minutes, my goodness. I hope you enjoyed this and found it helpful in some way. Good luck. Have fun with this next week. Cheers.